Hello, and welcome back to the Natasha part of the internet. Did you miss me? Oh my god, same.
What's up? What's good?
Today, I wanted to talk about solo traveling. I always do gestures like this as if in editing I'm gonna like add something fancy and I never do. So maybe this will be the time that I fucking do it. Who knows?
What's good, dudes?
Alright, so today I want to talk about solo traveling and why to do it and how to do it and when to do it and all that good shit. So for some context as to why I was going to say why I have the authority to talk about this, that's not what I mean. Why I'm talking about this, I have like a decent amount of experience in the solo traveling world.
I don't know if you can hear that fucking honking, but it's rude. Ugh, this is what happens when you live in a city.
I started solo traveling when I was 16. Was I 16? 17? 16 or 17, doesn't fucking matter. When I went on a student exchange to Australia. That was my first ever like solo-ish. Well, not solo-ish, it was solo trip. That was my first like thing. So I went there on a student exchange. It was very much not approved by my school. Here's how this went down. There's a chunk of the story just missing for some reason, but basically it was my friend's idea to do the exchange. That's how that happened. She told me to. Well, no, she thought of it though. I was like, oh, that'd be freaking sick, like wow, cool, and my little pretty teenage brain went,
where's the farthest away place that I could go?
And so I went to Australia. My school did not offer exchange as a program. I just found a company who did it and like kind of brought it to my school, and I was like, hey, so like if I did this exchange, like would that be cool? And they said yes, but then when I came back, they were like, none of that counted, and we just are pretending that you were absent for the last month, so that was cool. Because basically my exchange was mostly over the summer, and then I just missed like the first month of school. Kind of shit. Yeah, it was a fucking great time, and it kind of launched my brain into like travel. I had traveled a decent amount before I went on that trip. I say obviously, like you don't fucking know me at all. Hi. That was like a huge, like kind of
The game changer
in my life was like, hey, I can like go places alone and it's freaking cool. The good thing about that trip for me was like, yes, it was solo traveling, but it was like pretty organized. Like obviously when I got there, I had like a host family that I lived with, and I lucked out insanely. My host family was the best. They are the best, some of the best people I've ever met my whole entire life. They're phenomenal, and I was so lucky. But yeah, so that was like an easy way to kind of ease into it. And that's when I started with solo traveling. And then since then, I've done quite a few trips by myself. I went to London by myself. I moved to England by myself. I moved to Vancouver by myself. I know moves and traveling is kind of different, but I kind of like lump them together, mostly because I tend to not live in one place for very long. So they're all kind of the same to me. And I also have gone to Finland kind of by myself. I went to meet up with someone, but I got there by myself. I went to New York by myself. I travel a lot alone. I went to Germany alone. That's why I'm talking about it. Motherfucker. How? I just hit my hand. Like, okay, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna move on. So, I'm gonna kind of talk about some of the like major concerns that people have when they like first go solo traveling, like what stuff you should think about, what stuff is important, blah blah blah. So, let's fucking get into it. Something that people like ask a lot when I talk about my trips is like, one, like how did you do that? Two, like,
oh my god, like do you feel different now? Like are you a new person now? Like wow, have you changed like so much?
Yes and no. Okay, bravery wise, I don't know. I just like traveling, so I can't really like speak to that because I just kind of do it. Like I tend to get scared like right before I go, but I'm like
more scared of not doing stuff than I am of like doing stuff.
Does that make sense? So I can't really speak to that because it's not really something that I've like, well, I guess I have gotten over it, but like I don't know, I just do things. I don't know. I'm 23. Like I don't know. What do I need a savings account? That's really bad advice. I'm gonna edit all this out. Just work a lot. That's my answer. Work a lot. I feel like I've changed. I've grown a lot. I've always been a pretty independent person, but I'm much more independent because I know that I can handle things now, because sometimes you get in situations when you're traveling alone where, like, if you were with other people, you would just be like, someone else deal with this, I don't fucking know. But when you're traveling by yourself, you just have to deal with it. And that's fucking scary, but cool. Because sometimes stuff happens, like, I got to Germany. Oh my god, this was the scariest thing. I got to Germany, and obviously all the signs were in German, and I do not speak any German whatsoever. And when I got off the plane, and then I was trying to catch this train to get to my hostel, and I had like a data plan because I was living in the UK at the time, so I had like a good data plan for while I was traveling, because I had like a UK phone. My data just wasn't working, so I couldn't look anything up, and I just had to figure it out. And it was so scary, but I did it. So that's cool. You learn a lot about yourself. It's like so cliche to say, like,
I really like found myself.
but like, yeah, I did. Fucking fight me. I don't know. You just really have to spend time with yourself, because solo traveling can be extremely lonely and boring. That's something that a lot of people like to fucking gloss over. Any pictures of my traveling look like I'm having a great time. Lots of times I was really sad and alone and bored, because you're alone all the time. And like, sometimes hostel experiences are amazing, and sometimes you travel for months and all of your hostels are empty. That really happened to me. It was horrible. I don't recommend that. Here's the thing. I am someone who, when I travel, sometimes I'm like, I want to go to places that like not everyone goes to, which is great. However, if you're solo traveling, like it's the first time, you're like backpacking, you're like doing hostels and shit, like go to places that other backpackers go, just as a thought, because otherwise stuff happens where you are like,
Oh, I'm trying to be like quirky and like original. I'm trying to go like wherever the fuck I want to go.
which you should, absolutely, but like, if you don't go places where there's like lots of backpackers, lots of times you're just alone, which is a thing. Anyways, let's talk about some of the benefits of traveling all by your lonesome rather than with a group of people. Really, there's one benefit, and, well, one main benefit. You can do literally whatever you want to do, and you don't have to worry about what other people want to do at all. You can just do what you want to do.
Cool, amazing, right, that sounds so freaking cool.
And also, it like pushes you, you're much more likely to like want to hang out with new people, because like you don't have anyone else to hang out with, so like that's how you meet people. Because if you travel with like your friends, you're much more likely to just like stay with your friends and like do that, you know? Those are the benefits, I guess, of traveling by yourself. Let's talk about how freaking scary it is. Yes, solo traveling is scary, but you get over it. Compared to other travelers, I'm like a relatively beginner, or whatever you want to say. But I would say something that you should consider for your first ever solo trip is to go somewhere that they speak the same language as you. Or like, if you speak a second language, like that's fine too, like go to like those places. Because you're going to be overwhelmed as fuck already, let alone like not knowing what anyone's saying. So like, yeah, unless you like speak a second language like fluently, then that's also probably fine. But this is my advice from someone who speaks only one language. Not that you shouldn't go to the other places, you absolutely should, and I intend to, but I'm still young, dude. I got a lot of life left to live. I got a lot of places left to see. I'm not going to explain myself. I know also a lot of people, when they solo travel, like to do like the group tours and like group things. Do those. I've never been on one, so maybe I shouldn't speak to that. But I think that that's great. I think that you should definitely do that, like depending on what it is and what the organization is, and like if it's stuff that you want to do or not. Because sometimes it's really daunting to like have to plan everything by yourself, and sometimes you like don't even really know what to do, and then you can end up wasting a lot of time just wandering around, being like, I don't know what I should be doing right now, because you just genuinely don't know. So I think group things are great. I've also done like trips, like when I was living in New York, I was doing a course, and the course was super fun, but I was really just like, this is a means to like a way to do this city differently than I've done it before. So that was super cool. Like I recommend like having a specific reason that you're going to said place, because sometimes when you just go with no reason for being there, it's a little bit like,
Why am I here? What am I doing with my life? Everything is a mess, and what's happening?
you know? So yeah, the tours seem cool. Never done one, but I would. Something else to consider, something that people ask about is like, did you get lonely? How do you deal with it? Yeah, I did. I don't know how to deal with it. I don't have advice for that. It sucks. It's horrible. Talk on the phone. Journaling is cool. You get to know yourself differently. That's like great. Try to put yourself in social settings, even if it's like with people that you don't know. Like go out, but also be safe. That's a whole other set of issues, especially as a lady or femme traveling by yourself. It's a whole thing where you have to like, yeah, like you could just go like to bars to meet people, but like, is that safe when you're by yourself? And like blah 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 blah. You have to do all that stuff. Speaking of safety, let's talk about traveling safe. Cool thing, if you're traveling in hostels, the coolest thing about booking hostels is the reviews are actually like usually pretty good. So like I've always booked my hostels through Hostel World. You can read reviews, but the reviews will specifically be like, oh, I am a lady in this age group. So you can kind of see like, oh, did they feel safe? Did it feel comfortable for them? Like whatever. Read the reviews and like look at the ratings and look at the location and like all that kind of stuff. That's really important. Always, 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 always have money for a cab or an Uber. Always. And always pick safety over going over budget. That just is something that you have to do. It just is. Like, even if you're being paranoid, if you feel like, oh, I feel sketched out, get in a cab. Don't fucking risk it. That's my advice. Like, it sucks, and sometimes you go over budget, for sure. Done that, been there. You need to be safe, and that is, like, something that sucks as a woman traveling alone that I have to think about all the time. But, I mean, I have to think about that all the time in my daily life anyways. Make sure that you're traveling to places where it's safe for you to be traveling alone. And make sure that you're looking into things and staying in safe hostels and flying with reliable companies and all that kind of stuff. And make sure that you're being aware when you're meeting new people and talking to strangers and like not telling people where you're going to be tomorrow, not telling people where you're staying. Like don't do that. I've seen a lot of situations. I don't know how they played out, but I've seen a lot of situations in hostel bars and stuff where like girls met these guys that they like just met, and then they would be like, oh, the guys would suddenly start asking a lot of very intense questions like, oh, what room are you staying in? Oh, like where are you going tomorrow? Like where are you going to be the day after that? Like all this stuff, and it's just like, don't answer those questions or lie. To be honest, like I'm not saying that you can't make friends, and like that's like a huge part of traveling, and you should meet new people, and that's awesome. But be smart. Be careful what you tell people. Like don't tell people where you're going tomorrow. Don't tell people your whole like travel plan. Like don't do that. Like don't, just be smart. That's my biggest piece of advice. That's something that I think about the most when I think about like my friends traveling and stuff, is I'm just like, please be safe. Please don't tell strangers where you're going. This one time I was in New York with my high school, so like years ago. And this girl, I don't even know who she was. Like, I know she went to my school, but we didn't run in the same circles, but she was somehow, like, with me and some friends. And this guy came up to us on the street and started talking to us, and she started telling him, like, what hotel we were staying at, like, what train we were getting, all this stuff. And I was like, what are you up to? Like, no. And, like, luckily it turned out fine. Like, we got out of the situation. But I was just like, don't do that. Like, you have to, as much as it sucks, trust me, it sucks, but you have to be like protecting yourself. You have to know what you're up to and who you're talking to and what you're saying. You just have to. That's like a huge part of it. It sucks, but it's true. Nighttime traveling is scary. Flights at night are fine. Like if you're gonna have like a long international flight, I'd honestly rather it be at night. I personally wouldn't, if I'm traveling by myself, I personally wouldn't get on a bus or a train that's gonna be overnight unless like I absolutely had to. I just wouldn't. Stay an extra night where you're going and leave in the morning. Or stay an extra night where you are and leave in the morning. That's my advice for that. Also, just like you need to kind of pick up an attitude right away as if you know what the fuck you're up to, even if you don't. Because like you don't want to look like you don't know what you're doing. Like you don't want people to be like, oh, like she's a tourist, because then it's like people will think it's easier to steal from you and do stuff like that. So like just like walk around like you know what the fuck you're up to. Doesn't guarantee anything, but it helps. Oh, something that's so important is keeping track of all your documents and your ID and all that stuff. Don't carry your passport around. That's dumb. Don't do that. Most hostels that you stay at will have lockers, or if they don't, they'll have a safe behind the front desk. Don't carry your passport around. Don't do that. It's dumb. Don't do that. Make sure that I kind of have like a little folder thing when I'm traveling that I keep all of my travel documents in, like absolutely everything, because you never know what you're going to need, especially if you're traveling internationally. Keep it all together. Keep it somewhere safe. If it's in your backpack, keep it at the back and like the bottom of your backpack so it's not going to like fall out, or if it happened, which would be awful, that someone was like rummaging through your bag, that is not the first thing they see. Keep locks on your bag. Like, sorry, this is fucking turning into all just warning stuff. Traveling is great. Don't get me wrong. Lock your your backpack or your locker or your suitcase or whatever the fuck. Lock your stuff. Lock it. You can get the like TSA approved lock so it doesn't cause you issues at the airport, but lock your stuff. If you're staying in a hostel that doesn't have lockers, get very friendly with your belongings because you're going to be sleeping with them. Don't leave your shit everywhere because you don't know these people. They're probably fine and they're probably great and they're probably going to become your friends, and that's awesome. Don't leave your shit around. Sleep with your stuff. That's what you're going to do that. Just do that. I don't know. Yeah, traveling can seem really daunting like before you start doing it, but once you start, it doesn't seem as scary. Like once you've done it once and you know that you can do it, that's kind of the biggest like hurdle, I guess, and like I'm lucky in that I chose to do it when I was pretty young. But once you've done it once, then you know that you can do it. And then that'll kind of open up doors for you. Like I mean, I've been flying by myself for a really long time, but once you start doing it, then you'll be like, oh, I actually can do that. Cool. And then you'll be able to do it more, and it'll be so fun, and you can see the whole wide world. And you don't need other people to be there. You can do it by yourself, and that's awesome. It's cool to travel with your friends, too. Absolutely love it. Honestly, like, for me, as of right now, I'm not super into backpacking anymore. I did it for a while. Didn't have the best experiences, which is a video for another time. It wasn't like the worst. Well, parts of it were. Parts of it were great. But you'll like learn your traveling style, and like that's totally fine. Like I really thought that I was gonna be like a backpacker, and like why do I keep doing this? Like what is this? But I don't know. I just really thought that was gonna be like my thing, and I was gonna like love it because I always am told consistently all the time and every day that I'm like a nomad. I literally can't stop doing this with my hands. That everyone is just always
like, you're a nomad, like you're crazy, like you just like going around.
No one tells me I'm crazy. They do, but like not in a compliment sort of way. Anyways, I always am told that I'm a nomad and that I should just like be one of those people who like gets rid of all my stuff and just like lives life as it comes, which like I kind of do. I move a lot, I travel a lot, blah blah blah, absolutely cool. Backpacking isn't really my shit, and like that's fine. I've done it. I'll probably do it again. I don't hate it, and I'm sure I would have great experiences doing it in different ways, and I've done it because I've learned now. Plan your trips out. Like, plan them a little bit. You don't have to plan them, like, super crazy, but plan them a little bit. Like, have some stuff lined up. That's my biggest piece of advice. Don't go somewhere and have absolutely nothing to do there. That's my biggest piece of advice. Yeah. And on that note, I hope this video made sense. I hope it wasn't too rambly. I hope I helped a little bit. I hope you go on a solo trip and like meet yourself and have the best time of your life and like learn so much, and like I hope it's amazing for you. Truly, I do. That sounded sarcastic, but I really do. I think traveling is hella important, and I think we should all be doing it. Everyone who is able to do it should be doing it. I think it's really fun and fresh and amazing, and you get to learn about new people and see new things, and it's a whole new world out there. Just be freaking safe, dudes. That's the number one thing. Be safe, watch your back, take care of your shit, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please hit the subscribe button if you want to see new videos from me. I post new videos every single Friday, and then sometimes other days if I'm fucking feeling like it. Hit the bell icon to get notifications every single time I post. I'll have all my socials linked. I'll have all my socials linked down below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.